Today we're going to make one of my favorite eats, homemade pasta. What's your favorite eats? This favorite eats is definitely a throwback to my childhood. Hanging out at Nana's on Sundays, having fun with the cousins, and enjoying her fresh pasta. Okay, so the first step is pretty simple actually. We're going to use our KitchenAid. We're going to throw in our flour. And we're just going to throw in our salt. And then we're going to attach our mixer. And then we're just going to mix that up on, just to get the salt mixed in. We're going to throw in our eggs. We're going to throw in a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slowly add some warm water. Now, you want to not add too much water, and you want to add this a little bit at a time so that the water mixes in with the pasta. And eventually, what you'll get is a beautiful consistency and mix of the pasta, the olive oil, the egg, and the water. Now you want to keep an eye. Now you can hear the grinding on this. Once you start hearing the grinding of that, you want to turn it off. And now's the time to change your attachment. Put the dough hook on. And again on number 2. And we're going to just let that mix up that dough. And that's pretty much it. Pretty much gets simple. Once everything on the bowl is pretty cleaned up, and everything is all just one lump, bring it out. Beautiful. Alright. There you go. Alright, so I've got my dough here. Beautiful. Now what you want to do, take your little board, throw down a bunch of this beautiful flour, and just make sure you roll this all in. Be generous with the flour because this is really what brings out all the flavor. It doesn't make it stick. You might want to just, I kind of hand knead it a little. Like in the old days, you didn't have KitchenAids, you had to use a rolling pin and, oh yeah, see? Ah, that's gorgeous right there. Beautiful. All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this set. We're gonna take our saran wrap, we're gonna wrap it up, we're gonna let it sit for maybe half hour, 45 minutes, let it kind of set and rise just slightly. Then we're gonna cut it up and we'll make some fresh pasta. Okay, so our dough's been setting for about a half hour or so. We're gonna take off the cellophane and we're gonna throw a little more flour on it. Always be generous with the flour throughout this whole process because it just keeps the dough from getting super tacky. That also helps you when you put your dough through your press and your cutter, that it doesn't get all sticky in the press and the cutter. Okay, so I've changed my attachment. I have the pasta roller on here, and these are beautiful pasta rollers. I must admit, they're made in Italy, and they are just, they do just a spectacular job. Takes all the work off of you and makes it fun. So now we have our dough. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut our dough into little strips. And what you want to do, the strips I'm cutting are, sort of, 3 or 4 inches long, maybe an inch thick. And that's what we're going to use when we put them through the press. So you definitely want to make sure you always keep your spare flour handy, and always put your spare flour on your strips. Okay guys, so I'm down to my last piece, but there's a couple things I want to show you before I'm done. First of all, when you're grinding through this after you've done a piece, it's very easy to forget to bring it back to number 1. So it's important to realize that you need to bring it back to number 1, which is the thickest setting when you redo it. So we're going to finish up this last one, and we're going to run it through on number 1. Run it back. And remember, what you want to do the first time is you want to fold it and then keep it in that same direction. Now if it splits like that, don't be, you can bring it all back together and kind of make it work for you. It is dough, it's very pliable, no worries. So now that's on number 1. Again, remember, we want to make sure that we keep it nice and floured. Now, after you've run it through on number 1, then you can bring it to number 2, same direction, and bring that through. Now, if it gets really long, what I like to do is I kind of like to cut it in the middle, which is about the size of maybe a length of a spaghetti, which is what we're cutting today, spaghetti. And then I put that through on 2 a couple of times. You'll get the hang of this. And then you just hang it to let it dry. And that's about it, guys. This is the last one. We're going to let this maybe dry for a few minutes. We're going to change our attachment, make some spaghetti. Alright guys, so we have pressed all of our pasta. We have it hanging, and I've changed the attachment. We're going to make spaghetti. So we have the spaghetti cutter. Again, KitchenAid Italian cutter, really beautiful piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our pressed pastas. Again, I like to, as I've stated, very important, put some nice flour down so it doesn't stick in the cutter. Now again, the length of your pasta depends on how you like it. So I usually cut these probably in 12 inches maybe. I'm going to put this on probably number 4. And we're just going to let this lay through. Now catch them with your hand. Now you can do this a couple of ways. I like to nest them. Instead of nesting it, you can hang it to dry. So your preference, usually when you nest it, you might want to put it in a little pan and stick it in the refrigerator. If you're going to use fresh pasta and put it right in the pan of water immediately, so super fresh pasta, then you may want to just go ahead and nest it. And that's about it, pretty easy. We're going to finish this up and have some beautiful pasta for dinner. You can always go to the store and buy boxed or refrigerated pasta, but what's the fun in that, right? I mean, come on. Fresh pasta, easy to make and delicious. So thanks for hanging out at Mike's Favorite Eats. Hope you enjoyed it. And subscribe to our channel. We'd love to have you. Check out a few of our other videos, and definitely leave a comment. What's your favorite eats? See ya.